Mustafa Nuristani, you entered my life during a period of time where I was feeling very lost, very disconnected from myself and my emotions. It was during COVID. And yeah, I think I was looking for answers and a sense of peace and comfort. And you introduced me to a technique and into a new world and community, which offered that in great abundance. And you've been such a beautiful, shining example of that peace and that love that the technique that you share with the world stands for. And it's been a real privilege to learn from you and to walk alongside you and to, get your support and guidance as I deepen my transcendental meditation practice. You're a friend, a brother, a very handsome man, a leader. You are the executive director of Transcendental Meditation Australia. And, I believe to be one of the most influential and inspiring leaders bringing peace to the world during a time when we need it most. So I'm really, really grateful to know you and to share this space with you today, Mustafa.
David, you're so sweet. And, it's just really great to be here. And congratulations on this beautiful podcast. I'm really looking forward to see you grow and share your story with millions of people. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Well, today's all about you and your story.
Is it?
So it's good not get too carried away. But I thought before we dive into that, I'd love to get your take because most people think that meditation is just about like clearing the mind and letting go of thoughts. Now you've trained and taught meditation and transcendental meditation to hundreds, if not thousands of people or tens of thousands of people by now. What do you believe meditation is really about?
Yeah, it's a really beautiful question, David, because, when people don't have the right tools or the knowledge, they think that the end is really what the whole process is. And meditation, really, with transcendental meditation, is a really beautiful technique to just get rid of all the noise and experience your being, experience your creativity, experience your authentic self, and that ability to just dive within and experience that and then draw from that level, go out into life, because meditation shouldn't be in the modern world. We're all people of the world. We have families, we have friends, we have jobs, careers, aspirations, and we want to be successful in our life. And so this whole concept of meditation where you I don't know, go to the mountains and do something and then come back and feel good, it's a little outdated. So what we do in transcendental meditation is we have a technique that just lets you dive within. And when you come out, you're ready to tackle the day. You're ready to go out and enjoy your life and be with your family and be present and be available. And that is really a beautiful way to live life, because so many times I've heard people come to me and they say that, their relationships are falling apart, their career is not fulfilling, and, they just want to quit their job and maybe they just move far away or someplace. And maybe that was me as well. That's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to just leave. And the reality is that it's not your job, it's not your family or your friends, it's you. When you live your purpose and when you know who you are, then life has this incredible wave of just joy and bliss at every encounter. And when you don't have that connection with yourself, when you don't know who you are, then it's like, you're like a leaf fallen off a tree, and you're not connected to the tree anymore. You're not getting any nutrients from the source anymore. And so it's just like a dead leaf flying here and there with the wind, subject to the wind's will. But imagine being part of that source, being connected to the roots deep within the ground, and then receiving your nourishment. And then when the wind comes, you dance with the wind, and the sun comes and you shine with the sun, and the rain comes and you bathe in the bliss of the ocean. And so just life becomes more and more blissful and fulfilling and just full of joy. So what we do is we just tap into that source. Just tap into that source. Only for a few minutes. It's not like you need hours and hours to tap into that. So, you sit on your bed, just wake up, go use the bathroom, and then sit on your bed and just close your eyes and just sink. Because so many people, they wake up and they're like, oh my God, I got to go here and I got to do this. And what about this person? How's this going to work? And what about my boss? And what is it going to? It's like the mind is racing without the person is leaving the bed. You haven't even come out of the bedroom and your mind is racing. So now what we need to do is just go back, just sit on the bed and clear the mind, create that calm, that complete stillness. And then decide what you want out of your day. And when you do that step by step, I want this out of this day, because you have that clarity and that depth of experience from within the source supporting your ideas, then you just live your life. You design your life. So this whole idea, your question was, what do you think is meditation something about clearing the mind? And yeah, to a certain extent, it is clearing the mind. But without a technique, clearing the mind on the level of clearing, on the level of fighting thoughts or getting rid of thoughts or getting rid of the noise because you just want some stillness because you're going to focus on this or that or just, that is hard work. That is challenging. And I have done that. And I tell you, I commend those people. I'm like, congratulations. But anyone who says like, I sit and I just do some, visualization and because I couldn't visualize to save my life. I was like, what is she saying? Because she was telling me to just think of a garden and there's a river in the garden and the river is flowing. Let the stresses flow in the river away from you. And I'm like, wait a minute, you lost me at the garden. I don't know where the garden is, let alone the river and then the stresses. So I'm freaking out about the garden right now. So that was my experience. But, some people like it and that's good. What I say to people that if you have any opportunity to just close your eyes and sit and be with yourself, it's a good enough thing that you can do to yourself. Because people don't even have that time these days. They're just one after the next job and next job and next job and this much money I need to make from this and this much. And that's all good. That's fine. But what happens when you come to a stage in your life where you've got all the money, but you don't have the inner connectedness? And then the money doesn't mean anything. You don't have good relationships because they've all been based on money. Every relationship is based on exchange. How much money I'm going to give you to get this, and how much money am I going to give? So it's all on the level of just material wealth. And the founder of TM, he had this beautiful quote, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He said something. I'm going to paraphrase here, and he says that the material life has the attraction that makes you run, but it fails to satisfy. It fails to satisfy. So the thirst is never quenched. And the running is really about the connection. Everyone out there is running to find some connection. And you think, if I have a house, and then I'll be safe, and then I can live a peaceful life. But then your whole life is spent on just this house, and you still don't know who you are. So yes, did I answer your question?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. And I really relate to that concept of chasing after and looking for that sense of solace or peace in external things. Why do you think so many people who seemingly look successful or accomplished on the outside struggle to know who they are, to be on purpose, like you said, to feel connected to something more meaningful? And why do they continue to struggle with so much anxiety and a racing mind?
It's because the education system that we have does not provide the young people with the tools and the techniques so they can connect with themselves, with their inner core, and from that level, find their creativity, find their path. And when you don't have that from a very young age, you just see on television, it's all, my 5-year-olds, my 7-year-olds, they know all the names of these, cars like Bulgari, and I don't even know what Bulgari is, and Maserati, and this is, so young kids, they're seeing that, but they need to have this time to be with yourself, to connect with yourself, and what do you want from life? And so all of these things that are advertised and it's beautiful and shiny and glamorous and very attractive to the senses, it draws you constantly out. And so when you don't have that tool, then you find that, yes, I am a millionaire. Now I want to be a billionaire. I mean, what are you going to do with all that money? What are you going to do? Because when a person dies, they're just either they're in an oven or they're just wrapped in a sheet in the grave. And you can't take anything with you. So what you want is that last moment of your life to be the most joyous moment, the most fulfilling experience, where you say, I'm so grateful for all of the connections that I have. I'm so grateful for all of the moments that I had with my family, because at the end of the day, those are the moments that are going to come to you. And the moments that you will regret will also come to you. So it's better not to have any regrets, live in the now, and go after what is meaningful to you. And so then life is meaningful today and also tomorrow.
Yeah, beautiful. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize that until it's then brings to mind one of the top 5 regrets that the dying have on their deathbed. There was a hospice nurse who naturally sat down with people on their deathbed, and the most common regret that she heard was, I didn't live a life true to who I am. I just lived a life to meet the expectations of others and to seek validation and approval from others. And I'm curious, how can a technique like TM support someone who might be stuck in that mode of living life for others as opposed to living a life that's true for them?
This is such a beautiful question, David, because it goes to the core of everyone's existence, because we become this kind of prisoner of society, prisoner of the market, prisoner of everyone's views of us. And that is because that the lack of authenticity, the lack of self-awareness. Self-awareness gives you the ability to be and allow others to also be, and not being this judgmental person, because those people who are afraid of judging others or being judged by others rather, are very judgmental themselves. They are also in that, completely in that space where they're judging, and they know that if I'm judging, then everyone else is going to judge me too. And so it's this spiral that they're in. And what we do in Transcendental Meditation is experience infinite self. Infinite self means your unbounded reality that is deep within you, that unbounded source. And then when you are no longer bound, when you experience infinity, then you find that when you come out, your attention goes to infinite values, not finite values. Because everyone's got some little, we're all here to, get rid of some stress and something, like everyone's got some personality, little traits and whatever. So why do we put our attention on the negative? It's because we have some negative within us. The negative attracts the opposite negative. But when you increase the positivity within you, because you are being infinite in value in your mind, in your awareness, you see the positive in others. And spontaneously you find that you are no longer judging and are also not afraid of being judged. And therefore, the creativity flows because there are no restrictions in your mind. And so the creativity just flows. And that creativity guides you. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And then when you go there, you find fulfillment. And when you act on that desire, you find fulfillment. And that's where you start living your life the way you want to, instead of being a prisoner of, I need to do this because this person is expecting me to do this. And it's not like we want to, just be, completely spoil the situation and said, oh, I don't care about anyone. It's not. We live in a society and we share values and we share relationships and we are engaged in that way. We want to appreciate others for themselves, but also not be a prisoner of their minds. You know, when I was young, I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So I was, anyway, I'm telling you this story, and now everyone's going to hear it. So, but it's nothing bad. It's a good thing. So when I was about 17, I got scouted. Okay, I got scouted by a model agent, and they wanted me to, go to Japan and do modeling and then move to Perth, and I was like, this, no, I'm sorry, but I'm going to university and I don't want to do this. So I flat refused the guy. And he said, no, I'm telling you that you can travel the whole world. Now, when I was 11 years old, David, we were refugees, okay? And we were refugees in India. We had escaped Afghanistan because of the war and like that. And anyway, so we were, when you're refugees, you don't really have much. So I remember walking with mom and she had my hand and because in India you can get kidnapped really easily. There's so many people that you could get lost as well. So she always held my hand and so we were shopping and then I said to her, Mom, when I grow up, I really want to travel the whole world. I want to see the whole world. And she said, that's a really beautiful thing. And like if you work hard at school and study and then you have lots of opportunities and you can travel. And I said, okay, great. So then I had this thing in my head, like I really need to study and I wanted to study anyway. So fast forward 7 years later, I finished school and I'm at university doing criminology at Deakin and then I get scouted. And this guy says, you need to move to Perth and you make lots of money. And then when he was like, you can travel the whole world. When I refused him, he said, you can travel the whole world. I went back to that moment that I had in Aina Market in Delhi when we were buying mandarins and me expressing this desire to mom and mom telling me that you can. And I was like, okay, just give me a card. It's fine. I'll just give me a card. I'll think about it. So then I come home and I share the story with my mom. And my mom said, you need to focus on your studies. Modeling is not a world that, we are part of. We are educated people. We are not in the entertainment industry. And, because in Afghanistan, there's like a certain level, there are different levels of society. And there's like the entertainment, crowd. And then there's like the educated crowd. And then, like that. So I was like, who cares, mom? Like, I just, I'm 17, so I'm trying to, convince mom. And I'm like, who cares? Like, I don't care about that. Like imagine if I travel the whole world. And she said, no, it's terrible. And people have expectations and, people see us at a different light and like that. So we can't. And I said, Mom, I do not want to be a prisoner of the community here. I want to do what I want to do because if I'm a prisoner, if I say, okay, I'm not going to do this and do something else, and they want to talk, they will find something to talk about because that's their nature. They don't have anything else to do. They just sit around and they just talk about people. So if I'm the subject of someone's conversation today, so be it, And in our religion, in Islam, it's this known fact that when you talk badly about someone, when you backbite, then you take their bad energy. You take their bad energy away. And I'm like, they're just going to take my bad karma away from me. So it's a good thing. I don't know. And she's like, that's not how it works. So anyway, that was that. But I went with my gut, and I stuck with it and I called him. And so, yes, my mom just said, okay, fine. As long as you don't do any billboards of you in your underwear, because that would be really embarrassing for the whole family, then you can do modeling. So then I just said to my agent, like, no underwear shoots for me. everything else I can do. So then that was great. And then I traveled the world for like 10 years. I was traveling full time. And some of the most incredible experience of my life. And that's how I found TM as well.
How did that happen? And I am curious to hear as well, because I understand, how difficult and even, confronting it can be growing up around that level of instability, um, or, lack of safety, especially in a war zone, coming from Afghanistan and uprooting your life. And I can see through my own parents' journey coming from Romania and a communist regime, and these are really big shifts. These are really big shifts for a family and and a young boy to go through as well. So how did finding TM help you, I suppose, like heal through that process and find more of who you are and feel comfortable with that and be able to liberate yourself from the shackles of the community and how they perceived you and your family?
The thing with young kids is that they're very resilient and they don't know. But somehow when they're older, they have these fears about things, just they have nightmares and they have fears and they react to certain things. And if there's some kind of an explosion, for example, then they freak out. So it's because that stress is in the physiology. And when we were leaving Afghanistan, I was about 6 or something. And that experience was so traumatic because it was multiple times that we had to run away. Like once we went to Pakistan and then we didn't have passports, so we had to come back and then we had to go back and then we left for India. So the first time it was, and also my mom and my aunt are just 2 sisters. So my aunt was a very famous television anchor. So she was very famous and everyone knew her, like every single person. And my mom was also a journalist. So, they came after us. So they were targeting powerful people, influential people. And the first time we had to like run away to Pakistan, and I was about maybe 5 then. And in the middle of the night, we just ran, just like some buses came and we were wrapped and we were just like, as though we were being kidnapped and we were just wrapped and put in the behind of a bus and we were traveling. And then midway, the only thing about the Islamic regimes is that they don't ask the woman to unveil. It's a really positive.
How convenient.
Yes. When your life is in danger and your face is recognizable and there's a bounty on you, and then you can just cover your face and no one can say, okay, I want to see your face because they're men. It was a good thing. And they would also take young boys to train them to become, fighters. So anyway, we were on the bus and we were going to Pakistan. It's a long journey. And my older brother, who's about, like 11 now, maybe 10, but he's tall. And so they put on a burqa on him as well. And we're all like, what's going on? My sister's wearing this long burqa thing, and my brother and my mom, my grandma, and my auntie and my auntie's daughters. And so everyone's on this. This is a very exclusive bus, It's like if they found us, then they would have had like everyone. And my dad is the president of the Olympic Committee, so they want him as well. And so anyway, but we're on the way, and then these people came up, and they would stop. There's these checkpoints, and you can see, that they've stopped that bus, and they're pulling people down, and they're smashing them, and then they're abusing them, and and so anyway, it's our turn now, and we're all like it's so scary because you don't know where to go, you don't know what to do, you just shrink. I remember just shrinking so small so he doesn't see me into my seat. And I mean, you can't go anywhere like on a bus seat. It's just like, and then the guy came up and And my dad was there, and he didn't recognize my dad because they were, the Taliban in the Pakistan border. And all of the women were there. And my grandmother, she's this matriarch. And she just pulled her veil up and she said, "Who do you think you are coming to talk to my family? Get out now." And this guy's got this Kalashnikov and this, this like all these guns and rockets on his shoulder. So he said, "Mother, why are you upset?" And she said, "No, you are threatening my young girls. You see, we're all women here, and this is not right. You need to get out right now." And so the guy just left. He was like, "Just go, just go."
Go, grandma.
Yes, go, grandma. And then the driver was like, "Grandma, you saved us today because God knows what they were going to do to us." So we escaped. And then we stayed in Pakistan for 6 months. And so then you forget about it. You just play and you're in this new place. And, your mom and dad are really the ones that are freaking out about everything. You're just, 5, 6 years old. And then we came back to Afghanistan because we had to go back. And then, because there was this period, like maybe like a month, where there was just ceasefire, no fighting, everything's fine. And then we thought maybe it was over, like maybe they weren't going to continue anymore. And we were in a gated kind of a community. And the owner of, like, for example, David Jones of Afghanistan, the owner, he was like in front of the building, like our building, and then his building was in front. And so we didn't have any water. We were on level 4 because that's where the nice apartments on level 4. And so we had to, the downside is that you had to walk down to go to the pump. And so I'm like 6.5, whatever. And my younger brother's like 4. And my older brother is like 11. And so we are at the pump. All the young boys are lining up and filling up our kettles and our buckets to take some water upstairs. And so all of a sudden we hear these rockets just going over, like, and the rocket sound is a very piercing sound. It's like, it's a very high pitched piercing sound. It just like pierces through. It's like, and then it just went, doof, and you're like, "Oh my God, run." And when this part of the brain, which is called the amygdala, it's the fight, flight, freeze center. When that part is ignited, you don't think, like, "Oh, what am I going to do?" You just run, or you fight, or you freeze. And so we were like, run. And now we've got these buckets of water and we're running with buckets of water. Like, we could just leave the water and run. But no, we're like, we've got the buckets and we're running, and mom is screaming from level 4, "Come inside, come inside." And so we go up, and dad was out, and mom's like, what's going to happen? Because they're taking over our area now. They're moving in to this area. And so mom was like, "What's going to happen to your father? I don't know where he is." And she's just really stressed, but she's keeping cool because we are all freaking out. "Where is dad?" And my younger brother's like, "Where is dad?" My youngest brother's like, "Where is dad?" And he's 2. And anyway, so he came, and then they went to the guy who, the very famous guy who is like, the owner of David Jones. They went to his place, and it was quite traumatic to hear all of the screams of the women. They shot the men on their knees, and they were quite just really not good with the women, and they were all screaming, and they were screaming for help, and no one could go and help them. And so the whole night we didn't sleep. And then dad said, "Okay, you guys need to just go." So he knew some people at the airport. And so we just went, and we were packed on cargo planes because there were no planes going to India. It was just cargo. So we just sat on a cargo plane, and then we arrived in India. Now, all of that fear, I didn't know was in me, but it would trigger me. Like, things would trigger me. Like, whenever I would hear about war or something, I would be completely in a state of suspension. And this was like 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later. And then when I learned Transcendental Meditation, I became more and more free of those fears, more and more. And the process is that when you practice TM, the brain goes in alpha, and this alpha induces the body in deep rest. So you have global coherence in the brain. So that means that the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for judgment, sense of self, creativity, forward thinking, everything good about you, is here. This is the CEO of the brain. This gets connected to the rest of the brain during TM. And so the brain is highly alert, but the body goes in profound rest. And this is different quality of rest to sleep, deeper. And so what that does is that it gives the body the opportunity to heal itself. Now, this is what the body is designed to do. You know, we just need to, when we get tired, we just lie down and sleep. And then hopefully wake up with feeling rested and ready to, enjoy the day again. But when you do TM, you are, without any doing, spontaneously going into this state of deep rest, which then heals the body. And so now they're teaching TM to veterans of war in the United States because they know that PTSD is real and no amount of outside intervention, thinking about it or reliving it, or, it's a famous treatment that they have in the United States called prolonged exposure, which just means you you just go through the same thing again and again. They put you in the same situation that is giving you PTSD again and again, so you become numb. Now, what happens when you become numb? It means that the physiology has got so much stress, it just blocks it out. And then the stress manifests as something else. For example, no sleep. For example, very easy to be triggered by things in the outside, not being able to communicate properly, not being able to live your life because everything is constantly affecting you in a negative way. But that situation is no longer triggering you. So it's not really in any way healing the person, because healing can only be done by the physiology. When you go to the doctor will tell you need to take rest. You need to take stress leave from work, for example. And so for a whole week, you just don't go to work, you rest. And the body will naturally heal itself. So that's what we do in TM. We give the body rest. And so when I was doing that, I would feel this just like, when you take a nice shower, you're really tired and you've been in the garden, you've got all mud all over you and, and then you just turn the shower on and this pressure of the water just washes everything out. That's the feeling that you get in TM. You just feel like you're just getting this amazing bath mentally, physically, emotionally. And you just come out like new,
I want to honor you, firstly, Mustafa, and your family for that level of courage and resilience and, fierce love for each other, in the face of a very real threat and very real trauma. It's deeply inspiring to see how you've not only navigated your way through a very lethal situation, but to create the right circumstances and environment for you to heal and to be able to now provide your children with a really safe and nourishing environment is so beautiful. Yeah, I'm so grateful that TM has entered your life, and I want to thank you for sharing this wisdom with so many people, because you're right. I do believe what I've noticed in my journey as well with TM is that I notice the physiological tension leaving my body. Like, I notice my nervous system releasing out of like a contracted state. Like, if I've just been on my computer for 2, 3, 4 hours and I'm taking calls and I'm, doing content or whatever it is, and I notice I'm a little bit on edge. And then I sit down and I do TM and I notice like just twitches start to go off in my body. I start to release. And that's such a beautiful metaphor. It really brings it to life. It is like washing away the tension from the body. And I'm curious, to hear from you, because meditation is such a buzzword now. Mindfulness is such a buzzword, and there's so many different types of meditation, like presence and awareness and Vipassana and, different apps and, Sam Harris and Deepak Chopra, and there's just, any corner of the internet that you look at, someone's got their own meditation now. And TM is the most heavily researched meditation technique out there. What is it about TM that makes it different to, say, other forms of meditation?
It's beautiful, David. Thank you for being so kind and honoring me. I'm just really doing what I love, and I'm so grateful that I was able to find Transcendental Meditation to also be able to give it to other people, to share this technique with other people. Every week when I teach Transcendental Meditation, people are coming to me and they're on their crossroads. They're like either they're between jobs or they're in a job, but they want to get a better job, go higher, do better things. And so they come to TM because they're like, oh, I just heard about it on something. And I was just Googling meditation and then you appeared. And it's really, I feel sometimes it's a little deeper than that, because when you start doing good in life, when you have good intentions, it's like the universe is looking after you. The universe starts to look after you and say, you've got a good heart. You deserve better. You deserve more. And when I found TM and I had my first experience, it was so profound that I decided to become a teacher after my first meditation. And I had done every other meditation out there. And so other meditations, like, if you think about an ocean, on the surface of the ocean, we have waves, and if you're swimming on the surface, it's beautiful. It's nice. You can enjoy. But the pearls of wisdom are at the bottom of the ocean. The silence is at the depth of the ocean. And so what we do is we transcend the surface active level of the mind to experience deeper levels of the mind. If you are doing something like guided meditation, which is beautiful, but like I said to you before, I couldn't imagine things. But if you can, then you're on the surface of the mind just imagining things. And it's beautiful because your eyes are closed, you're going to get some benefit and it's nice. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that TM has attracted so many people. And all of these people that you talk about, Sam Harris and Deepak Chopra and Sadhguru, they all learned TM. And that was the foundation. Eckhart Tolle, all of these people, they learned TM and then they found their authentic self. And from there, they created what they felt would serve people. And that's what I congratulate them for as well. Because you need to find your authentic self. And then from there, you contribute to society in your way. So there's no one way is the most amazing way. But for me, TM worked because I just didn't want to be on the surface anymore. I wanted to go deeper. I wanted to experience myself. I wanted to experience my silence. I wanted to be infinite in value. I just didn't want to have thinking about these crazy things while I'm working, and then sit in meditation and also think about these crazy things and then come out and be like, okay, well, I think I did something there. That was my experience, And when I did TM, I was like, wow, I need to teach my mom this. I need to teach my dad. I need to teach my family. I need to teach everyone, because this is what truly everyone is looking for. When people think about meditation, they are looking for the experience of the self, the experience of the big S self. And so that experience is directly gained by the experience of TM. And so that's why I was like, yeah, I was on a different trajectory in my life. And then I was like, no, I'm going to leave. I've had so many career changes. And then people are like, what, you're changing? And I'm like, I don't find joy in that anymore. And that's the other thing. I want you and your listeners to know that life is too short and you should do what makes you happy now. Don't do what makes you sad now for a happy future, because the future is not going to be happy. What you want to do is you want to do something that's going to make you happy right now. And when you're happy right now, tomorrow is also going to be happy, because tomorrow is a product of today. So enjoy your life and be happy right now, and let tomorrow be tomorrow. And forget about the past. And when you do TM, you have that ability to be present, to have awareness of where you are right now and what you're doing right now. And then you find that everything just flows from there.
I love that. And I agree with you. Like my practice with TM has helped me not just intellectually understand that, oh, you know what, like the past is just a memory, which we know now as well. Each time you recall it, it actually loses its accuracy. So it becomes like a fictitious story. But also the future, on the other hand, is just an idea. It's just a mental construct. So all we really do have is now. So, what's the point in delaying joy and delaying happiness when all you have is what's right in front of you right now? Really beautiful words, and I think that's such a powerful message for our listeners. And as we bring this in for a landing, Mustafa, I would love to hear from you. What does being liberated mean to you?
So, since we are landing, I need to clear my throat. Liberation is the experience of lack of stress. When stress is no longer affecting your judgment, when you have access to your full mental potential, when you have access to your silence at all times, then you are a liberated human being. Because then you are in tune with the reality that governs the whole universe. And so what we have is this, Lord Buddha called nirvana, enlightenment, liberation. And the liberation is from these stresses that create desires that are not healthy, that create fears that prevent us from doing what we need to do, that create these obstacles in our way. And all we need is to just have a clear mind. And when you have that clarity and you're flowing with yourself, then you are a product of the intelligence that governs the whole universe. And so you're living your purpose and therefore living the purpose of creation. And so being liberated is a really incredible experience that one can have to just live life in a normal and fulfilling way. That's it. It's not, you're liberated and then somehow you're like this or like that. No, it's just that you don't have nightmares during the day. You just live your life being present and happy and content.
Thank you, Mustafa. Such a heartwarming conversation, and I really thank you for sharing so vulnerably and courageously and giving our listener a bit more of an insight into the beautiful practice of TM. How can people find out more about TM and you and connect with you and the practice?
So just tm.org.au, our website. And, I really want to make sure that people go to someone who is certified, and on tm.org.au, you'll find that all the teachers are certified the way Maharishi Mahesh Yogi has trained them to pass on the technique in its purity and its completeness. And so if you want to have the benefits of TM, then you find us. We're all over Australia. And you just go on tm.org.au and you just punch in your postcode and the closest TM center will appear. And then you just connect with your TM teacher. All the TM teachers are amazing. They're incredibly wise and also very well trained by Maharishi. And so you don't need to come to a specific person to get a specific experience. You just need to be in a TM center with a certified teacher, and the experience is automatic. It's within you. And the TM teacher just facilitates the whole thing so you can experience that and have the stability and the connection to keep on track and keep experiencing more bliss every day.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Big plug to TM. It's been the easiest practice that I've ever done. Well, the easiest thing I've ever done as well. um, really truly effortless in its approach. So yeah, thank you again, Mustafa. You're such a beacon of love and wisdom.
Thank you, David.
So
No, it's so kind of you to invite me to have this conversation with you. You are such a bright light yourself. You are so caring and giving, and you have such a huge heart. And all of these things are a sign of a great enlightened man. So I am in the presence of such a wonderful host, and it's a joy to be here. So thank you.
thank you, Mustafa. That's very touching. And yeah, for you listening, if something stirred within you or if you resonated with Mustafa's story and, perhaps have felt a call or a nudge, I really do encourage you to at least do your due diligence and research and learn more about TM or meditation or whatever, you feel called to. Because, yeah, as you can probably tell by now, it's hugely and positively transformed both Mustafa's and my life as well. So, and if you know someone who might benefit from this conversation too, please share it with them and start a conversation that matters. Lots of love, and I'll see you in the next episode.